Do you believe in that?
Yes.
I tell you, like,
You want to know why I believe? No, you go first.
he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of the things that were being sold when Deion Sanders was hired, you had absolutely a really disappointing sort of collapse near the end of last season. A lot of games that, with a couple plays here, a couple decisions there, things just kept breaking the other way. And the final record, kind of had a lot of people and a lot of the initial skeptics feeling like they were right. But in less than 2 full seasons, Deion Sanders has taken Colorado football from being 1-11, the worst power conference program in the entire country, to being 6-2, bowl eligible, ranked, and in the thick of the Big 12 title race. He did it. So if we're going to go upon further review, I just want to make sure that we get on the record here on the Cover 3 podcast where Colorado, Deion Sanders, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, like where we have absolutely, had them as a top of mind conversation. I just want to make sure that we give Deion Sanders and Shedeur and Travis Hunter, who's back to playing every daggum snap, basically, make sure we give them their props because the experiment has worked. Now, what happens next? We'll see. But I think that the transformation from where that program was to where it is at this moment, heading into November, heading into week 10, they've done it.
You didn't mention the real reason they've done it, though. Well, you mentioned part of the reason. It's their defense. Like, if you look at them offensively, the numbers this year are mostly the same. They're improved, but you can also argue that improvement is because Travis Hunter's played every game. But defensively, they've taken massive steps forward in the red zone. Like, if you look at their overall numbers, they're still giving up the same explosive play rate for the most part. Their pass rush has been better, but not astronomically so. They still force the same many turnovers. They force the same many negative plays. But once they get to the red zone, they are allowing only 3.8 points per trip this year compared to 4.2. And more important, they're only allowing teams to get to the red zone a little less often. Like, if you look at them last year defensively, they gave up points on 42% of their defensive possessions. This year, that's down to 31%. That's a huge drop off. And a big reason for that is if the turnovers are the same and everything else is the same, it just means you're doing a good job in the red zone and keeping teams out of the end zone. So, like, to me, that has been the biggest improvement because, like, talent wise, they have Travis Hunter. They have other good players, but they are still not on that side of the ball what I would call rich in talent overall compared to a lot of teams, although in the Big 12 it's comparable and they're probably above average. So it's just schematically, I think that they've kind of made some improvements to what they're doing in that area, and it's allowing them not be in a shootout every damn week where they're not having to win 51-48. Like, their offense is one of the best in the league, and when they're taking leads, their defense is allowing them to hold on to those leads, which makes it far more easy to play offense when you're not chasing points every time you have the damn ball.
I see a lot of these tweets because I'm tagged on them where Joel Klatt's like, where are the haters now? And then I see a hand waving at me and somebody tags me on it. I was captain hater last year. They were the most overhyped, overrated team we've seen in the last 50 years of college football last year. This year, it's a completely different story. And I think we've been pretty fair to them. Like, I came in this season saying, I don't know. Like, I don't know how it's going to work. I know it's going to look different because the roster had yet again a tremendous amount of turnover. But I think I've been pretty clear and pretty fair since week 0, saying Travis Hunter's the best player in the country, saying Shedeur Sanders could be and probably should be the number one, quarterback off the board. And at some point, like, yeah, they're a really good football team. So much like I do with our rankings, like, I give teams credit when they earn it. They've earned the respect of everybody. I think Deion has shown that he's a real coach. It's not just a smoke and mirrors. It's all about the image and the braggadociousness and just, having all the smack talk. They back it up, which is awesome. I didn't know if he would be able to do it. I'll be the first one to say I questioned it, but I think this year they've proven it over and over. So I think it's an awesome story. Now, I would slow it down a little bit when you say coach of the year, slam dunk, because there are some other coaches that have done in slightly better jobs considering what they took over or where they are now in their program. So I would say Deion's done a phenomenal job and he's given them exactly what they deserved. And it's awesome. But some of it again, but this is what happens with Colorado, that it gets ratcheted up because people get excited about it. And they're like, put him in the playoffs or Deion coach of the year. The only thing I would be willing to sign off on is either one of Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter being a Heisman candidate, because I think either one of them could win it.
Yeah, and also, like, I see people in the comments talking about they haven't played anybody. Well, we're not arguing they're the best team in the country. We're not arguing that they're going to win a
They're
national
a good
title.
football team.
They're a good football team, man. Like, yeah, they lost to Nebraska, they lost to Kansas State, but they're beating the bad teams, which is what good football teams do. And if you look at the rest of their schedule, Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, they can win all 4 of those games. They might be 10-2 at the end of the year.
Yep. And then depending on what else happens, throughout the rest of the Big 12, we'll see if that has them in a crazy tiebreaker scenario, though they would obviously not have the tiebreaker advantage against Kansas State. I mean, it's been vibes wise, it's like it's been since the Baylor Hail Mary, right? Because they weren't great in the Baylor game, but they were able to get out with the miracle win. But since then, it's been good football.
Yeah,
and so
they smoked UCF. They nearly knocked off. They had a chance to beat Kansas State. They only lost that game by 3 points. And they killed Arizona.
Good football. Been playing some good football across the board. So props to it was late night. Obviously, it was going on as we were still on here in the instant reaction show. So I still wanted to make sure that we gave Coach Prime and the Buffs their flowers.
Speaking of late night, did you guys see the schedule for this week?
No late night games.
There's no late night games. Nothing starts after 8 Eastern. Danny might be able to do the reaction show.
Hallelujah. Let's go. Depends on if those go fast or not.